Say hello to the new cringiest TikToker, Tyler Catastrophe. This individual has been going very viral recently due to a number of reasons. Mainly, their obsession with an internet creator known as Wilbur Soot. Without going too much into detail on who he is a online creator that has faced some very serious allegations from an ex-girlfriend. Links will be provided in the description for more information, but all you have to know is that Tyler defends these actions and says that Wilbur is innocent. For some background on Tyler, he is an online creator that makes jewelry. He also apparently has an extensive background in music, including getting multiple bands gigs, event management education, some kind of a degree in music production, and etc, but I haven't really seen any proof of any of that. He first went viral with this video where he showcases his parasocial obsession with the music artist Wilbur Soot.
I have had a crush on Will Gold since 2019 when I heard him laugh in the background of someone else's video and it felt like life itself needed to listen. Which is really inconvenient for me because I'm very much a one soul at a time kind of person, so once I develop a crush, virtually no one else stands a chance ever. And at the time, I had just broken off a terrible engagement to a guy who didn't even f me. And since then, I've only briefly dated one other person who was wonderful, but it didn't work out. And so in all of that time, regardless of how many people have tried and been interested in me, I have not been able to find the interest for any single one of them because I have a crush on a guy I have interacted with once. And I don't even officially know his sex. That's a whole other thing, and I have tried so hard to move on from this, to let it go, because I want so badly for it not to cross over into parasocial territory, but in like the 7 minutes that we spoke to each other, one, every time we made eye contact, I thought my heart was gonna burst out of my chest and fly away. Two, I was so nervous that my head just shut off and my mouth had a mind of its own, and anyone who knows me and has ever met me knows that I don't get nervous about people. What the hell was that? Three, he somehow managed to make me want to write music again, something I have not done since my last band broke up in 2019 and I got hit by a car and couldn't sing anymore. And I can sing again now. It took several years, but I got it back because I'm amazing. But how dare you pull my spark back out from underneath the ashes I spent years burying it under because it hurt too much to think about in like 2 sentences. It's rude. And four, he failed to take a selfie with me because he was operating on like iPhone settings and I have an Android and I accidentally called him adorable, and immediately wanted to swallow my fucking tongue. Because you don't flirt with people when they're working. That's rude. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, and my point is, it's a whole thing that I would like to no longer have to deal with. And all of this is made worse because I have been recognized at every single concert I've been to in the past year and a half, including 2 of his. And I've been on the Lovejoy podcast twice. So no matter how many times I try to sweep this out of the rug and move on with my life, there's always that little thing in the back of my head saying, there's a non-zero chance. Oh my god. So basically, the way I see it, I finally say, I make this video, I say it all out loud to the ether that is the internet. Worst case scenario, he sees it, he says, hey, not for me. I move on with my life, it's fine. I'm an adult, who cares? I'll take a no over uncertainty any day of the week. Neutral option, nothing happens. Oh well, I guess. Best case scenario, you know, because honestly, it doesn't matter what I'm doing any day ever for the rest of my life. If he was like, hey, do you want to get dinner or something? I'd say yes. Obviously, I'm delusional. It's fine. But at this point, I'm just so over the not doing anything about the things that I want. You know? What's up with that? No one gets anywhere that way. So fuck it. I've said it out loud. What else is there to do at 9 p.m. on a... Is it Friday? I think it's Friday.
I knew a lot of people that were as obsessed with an internet celebrity romantically as this person. I think we were in 6th grade, not in our late 20s like this person is, but I guess there isn't much of a difference, mentally speaking, between their ages then and this person's mental age now, I mean. Anyway, they would then go on to make another viral video auditioning for Wilbur's band Lovejoy. This video is as cringe as you'd think it is, and don't worry, it gets worse.
No idea if one of my favorite bands might want a second vocalist, but I do know I am crazy enough to ask. So hi, Lovejoy. Do you want a second vocalist? My name is Tyler Salona. I'm 26 years old. I live in Texas, but I'm trying to move to England anyway. I'm a massive extrovert. I've been performing since I was 10, and in 2019, I was actually a semi-professional vocalist, but then had to spend almost 5 years getting my voice back after losing it completely because someone hit me with their car. Through the sheer force of audacious determination, I now have my voice back and my vocal stamina, which basically means that now that I can go back to music, not doing so makes everything else feel unfulfilling and sad. I figured I might as well shoot my shot. And I also play the trumpet, which is probably helpful. Anyway, here's Portrait of a Blank Slate. The whole thing. I hope you like it. I mean, you probably like it already, let's be honest. It is your song, but I also hope you like the parts that I'm gonna do. The singing part. You know. This is a long intro for TikTok, but we can make it over here, so listen to it. It's amazing. I love it. I know someone's gonna think I'm joking. I'm actually not joking. I'm actually incredibly serious. If Lovejoy sees this, my DMs are open. I'll move right now.
This was one of many audition videos that this person has done for the band, but believe me, none of them have been or will be accepted. This next video is perhaps the best and most interesting one, where Tyler talks about Wilbur Soot and his parasocial obsession with him.
You know what I want in a relationship? Because I do. I've thought about it a lot. I've been consistently single for years. And it's not for lack of people trying, it's just that the people I want haven't been trying. And unfortunately, I'm not allowed to try. I make bad decisions when I try. But now, I'm gonna put it out there. Let the universe take it off my hands, alright? Then my hands are off the wheel. I don't drive, but I know what that means. I know I've said before that my type is tall, blonde, goofy musicians, and that is still very true. When it comes to the dynamic, like I want to be in a power couple, but I don't want to be the sole breadwinner, because I've done that. It's not fun for me. I want a man who I can create with. Music, art, opportunities, the list goes on. I am a maker of things who likes to share the making of the things. That's just me. Also, I want a man with ambition who actually acts on that ambition. I've been with too many guys who never act on their goals. It's not for me. Also, I want to be with a man who is successful on his own, and also isn't threatened by the fact that I am successful and want to be successful. I am awesome and amazing, and he should understand that and be proud of that. You know what the most important thing is to me? I want to be romanced. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a princess when I grew up. I read too many books, watched too many rom-coms, listened to way too many love songs. I want to be somebody's muse. Is that too much to ask? I'm amazing. Surely it's easy to be inspired by me. I deserve to be courted. I deserve to go on nice dates. I deserve to be flaunted around like a princess because I am one. I've never been on a first date. What's up with that? I like effort. I like flowers. I like candles. I am not difficult to please in this department. Write me a love song. Write me some poetry. Draw me a picture. Okay, I need to get back on track. Want to know what kind of love I want? I painted this. That one's technically based on a Fall Out Boy album, but still. I'd say I want to be somebody, but that is kind of true. But I'm also somebody on my own. I know who the fuck I am, okay? And I am so tired of being the sunlight that only attracts moths. I love moths, don't get me wrong, but I want to also be loved by a sunlight, okay? Meet me on my fucking level. Is this sad? Am I sad? No, it's just a little bit piney, and that's fine. Okay, love you.
Now, the concerning part about this, besides just being obsessed with a celebrity that probably doesn't know you exist, well, technically they met once, but I'm sure he doesn't remember. But yeah, the concerning part is that this person is moving to the same city where Wilbur Soot lives in to be closer to them. But they try and pretend like it has nothing to do with it, even though you've had a crush on this guy since 2019, that's what, 6 years now? And this crush is so powerful that you can't even have regular relationships with real people anymore because that person is so overpowering in your love life, you can't even date. And coincidentally, you're just gonna move to the same city as him, but you know, he definitely has nothing to do with it. Is that not extremely creepy? Moving to the same city as someone just to stalk them better? They met one time during a show that Tyler, paid to meet them for. Wilbur has never reached out to Tyler beyond that. He's never even attempted to, and obviously we'd know if he did, this person wouldn't be quiet about it. And moving across the planet to someone's specific city just to be closer to them is extremely creepy. And they're gonna try and tell you that them moving to the same city as this person that they are obsessed with and have been obsessed with for years now has nothing to do with them being there. It has nothing to do with Wilbur living there. It's just a coincidence. And he's gonna call you a liar if you do say it's because he lives there.
So when I first started talking publicly about this goal, a lot of people were wondering where specifically I wanted to move to. And I'll be honest, I didn't want to answer. And while I really didn't want to offend anyone by not answering, I also really didn't want to tell the truth. So, me being me, I just picked a popular, well-known city that I knew I'd be spending a considerable amount of time in. That being Brighton. I love their football club, I love their thriving art and music scene, it's a beautiful place.
In this next video, Tyler addresses all the allegations and controversy.
I said I have a crush on a guy in a band who I do not know and have met once. And because I was not strictly literal in a video that was for entertainment, I have somehow become the target of a weeks-long ridiculous smear campaign that frankly I don't want to understand.
I'm gonna pause that video right there because that's just a straight up lie. Like, that's just not true. In the description, I'll link an account that I got a lot of videos from, and this person, Tyler, has uploaded countless videos about Wilbur and his band. It's not just a one-time video. It's like, oh, I have a crush on this Wilbur guy, I thought he was cute. No, there is literally countless videos, multiple videos talking about Wilbur and being obsessed with him.
I need that man to put his face on my face. Just,
I don't want to worry about things anymore. I want to kiss a man, like one man in particular. Leave me alone.
I do not think that Wilbur Soot is an This is just a reminder that I still feel that way.
I'll go more in depth after this, but please keep in mind, the video already starts off with a lie.
and while part of me knows that it's probably smart to just hope it dies out, it just keeps getting worse. So I'm gonna say I am not the one stalking comment sections hoping to see someone I do not know. You are. I am not the one making fake accounts to stalk someone I do not know. You are. I am not the one making money off of lying and talking about someone I do not know. You are. I am not the one writing fanfiction and making edits and drawing fan art and using AI to make slop of people I don't know kissing. You are. I'm not the one pretending to be related to someone just to spread lies. You are. I am not the one wishing worse on someone I do not know just because they said they had a crush. You are. And I am most certainly not the one using AI to try and convince people on the internet that someone I have never interacted with is a
I personally have not seen anything on the internet about Tyler being a predator, and I'm sure there's no proof of it. And I've also not seen anyone making AI stuff or making up accusations against him. I've literally never heard any mention of Tyler in any way relating to that kind of stuff before he said it in this video. But like I said, I have not seen any proof at all for it.
That's 100% on you. I said that I thought a guy was hot and funny and interesting in a video where I was not strictly literal. And then I said that because I am confident and like myself, then maybe he would like me if he gave me a chance, if he was interested in men, because again, I don't know. I do not care where he lives, I do not care who he's seeing, I do not care what he does for fun in his free time because it has no effect on my life. I have a physical type, he happens to be that type. I have very high standards, I do not want someone who does not meet that standard. That is all I said. And right now, the only reason most of my videos are still up is because I do not want to give people more room to lie. Clearly, all of those videos have missed such a large mark. I don't know how we got here. I don't want to know. But at this point, I've spent my entire life overcoming things that most people would never even have to imagine. And I spent a ridiculously long time being just the scapegoat for everyone around me. So I know that there are people who have no interest in the truth, no matter how big it is. And I know that there are people who will post anything that gets views. Consequences be damned. I actually left the creator program months ago because I didn't like the incentive it gave to like trigger people and start rage bait, and it's stupid. I don't like it. So really the only thing I have to say to the people who are using my name to get views and make money in a way that is not true and is very deceptive, I hope you plan to donate every single cent that you have made off of misrepresenting my character and using my name for views.
The next video we're gonna watch is him defending Wilbur Soot's allegations. His defense, quote unquote, basically boils down to, I'm a victim, so I'm uniquely qualified to speak on this, and I think Wilbur is innocent. That's literally it, but I'm gonna play it for you and let you make your own judgment.
I do not think that Wilbur Soot is innocent. And I know I've said that fairly indirectly in the past, especially recently, but I do feel like now it needs to be said point blank. Because as someone who has been a victim of and I know way too well what those things look like. And while I know that most of my audience knows how I approach things like this by now, I also know that if I post this video, there will probably be a lot of people who don't know me who see it. So I'm going to try to be as kind, direct, and clear-cut as I can. So I'm going to stick to 3 main points from Trouble's VODs. Please go and watch them yourself. You are under no obligation to think the way that I do. And then I'm going to touch on Wilbur's response. And then I think the general response needs to be addressed as well. Because Trouble's main points were that Wilbur was a slob, had a messy house, that she paid for a lot of her way to see him, and that he bit her. For point 1, let's be honest, most men aren't taught how to take care of themselves in their living spaces. And for men in their early 20s, that's a lot worse than it should be. Every man I dated in their late teens, early 20s was gross. That's just kind of par for the course. It sucks, but it is to be expected. And it is not, by default, malicious.
That is just a wonderful defense on his part. Yes, Wilbur was a dirty slob, but every guy his age is like that, so it's totally fine and normal.
2, paying your own way, especially for a distance like that, is kind of expected. And when you take into account that they were both very successful in their respective careers at that point, paying your own expenses isn't by default malicious. And for the 3rd point, Trouble states very clearly in her follow-up VOD that she consented to the biting. She then went on to clarify that what she had an issue with was the fact that it hurt. And while I don't think anyone should be hurt in their relationships, at the end of the day, that is a communication issue. And whether it's just a poor communication or lack thereof, both parties are responsible for that. Because a lack of communication or poor communication on either side is not by default malicious. And at the end of the day, when no assault took place, and the end result is just a bad relationship, that is something you handle in private, like adults. And to air personal, adult dirty laundry to a very large, very young audience in a way that is incredibly vague and left open to interpretation is, at the end of the day, very dishonest and very irresponsible. And that is made evident by the resulting response, where Wilbur Soot met Shovel where she was at, gave a very direct and validating response that responded to what was said, addressed what was said, validated what was said, and gave evidence that he was making moves to be better. And when that mature adult response was received by a very angry young audience, it was received as an admission of guilt and seen as validation for the wildly exaggerated rumors that came from leaving that sort of thing open to interpretation. And now, every mention of his name, his band, his career, anyone that has anything to do with him, is met with such vitriolic hatred that there's no room for anyone to improve anything at all. And when we live in a world where we are begging everyone and everything at all times to be better than it is, that kind of response does nothing but make everyone worse. And I stand with victims. I am one, several times over. But these sort of things have to be handled in a responsible way, because where we stand right now, with the internet being the way it is, what we've ended up creating under the guise of supporting victims is a culture that has trained children, teenagers, young adults, anyone who will listen, to be internet attack dogs for people that we don't know. And you're allowed to be upset, you're allowed to be angry, you are totally justified in those feelings. But if you allow yourself to be blindly swept up in those feelings and the roar of the crowd around you, eventually you are going to find yourself in a situation where you are being used as a weapon by angry people who just want to see other people burn. And I'm not saying you should support Will, I'm not saying you should continue listening to Lovejoy just because there's no evidence on either side. I'm saying that it is not your responsibility to be judge, jury, and executioner for people you don't know in situations that you don't understand. Because none of us have all of the information. In fact, in this instance, there was very little information to go on.
I'm gonna say outright, I don't know much about the situation, and from what I do know, it is very complicated with a lot of misinformation and back and forth crap slinging. But for Tyler to say that with this situation there's very little to go off of, and then make a 6-minute video saying that he is innocent and not what people are labeling him as, is a little, contradictory, And I'm not saying you're like a bad person for listening to his music. I mean, I know me and a lot of people listen to rap artists that talk about doing a lot of really bad things that are worse than biting your girlfriend one time. But you don't see me with a poster of, I don't know, King Von on my wall or something crazy like that. And you don't see me moving to O-Block to be closer to him. But Tyler not only stands by this person in a situation where, as he said, there is very little information, he wants to move to another country, specifically to the city where that guy lives in. It's very, very parasocial. So in my opinion, this Tyler guy really needs to reevaluate his priorities and his romantic interests. I don't think he himself is a very terrible person. Absolutely cringy, without a doubt, and morally ambiguous, but not a bad person. Definitely not like the other people I cover on my channel. But this situation is very creepy, and they need to just take a step back and reevaluate whatever they're doing with their life and moving, and especially with their internet career. That's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Let me know who you want to see me cover next, and have a great day.